Here he is, El Malito and the 33rd Century.
Malito, Ornitorrinco, the Platypus. You look for the stitches, the glue. You're tearing me to bits, you're confused. This is a joke, some secret street staring back at me. You get scared, turn away, brush me aside, push me outside. But I know there are a bunch of me, a bunch of platypuses. I really weird and strange shit. Don't think the stereotypes, you know we're right at sight. Someone say explain me también, extraordinario. Shout back at me if you're a freak, cause you don't fit in easy mold when you're walking down the street. Shout back at me, grita. Para bailar la bamba se necesita una poca de gracia, pero para ser ornitorrinco hay que pelear, hay que luchar, hay que tener cuero grueso y algunas veces te tratan como perro, porque la gente destruye lo que no entienden, pero tranquilo, vamos a unirnos y ir para el frente. Vamos, throw your hands in the air if you're a platypus. Throw your hands in the air if you're a platypus. Throw your hands in the air if you're a platypus. Throw your hands in the air. Your wet feet, throw them up like you just don't care. A little woman would be nice, but you last. Do not go crazy. To live my life in peace, to live out my dream. Listen to Michael, Billie Jean, Radiohead, Kid, and Killer Bees. That's the fucking shit. I wanna shake it at a club and throw down at a punk rock show. Quiero tostones con arroz y habichuela y empanada. Niggas, I think I need to put your well out. Vamos! Throw your hands in the air if you're a platypus. Throw your hands in the air if you're a platypus. Throw your hands in the air if you're a platypus. Throw your hands in the air. You wet feet, throw them up like you just don't care. Check it out. I'm a platypus. My whole group is, we're a bunch of platypuses. And I hope we got some platypuses out here as well. Alright, we're gonna talk about this after this song. Yeah? Are you a platypus? Yeah? Okay. Qué rica es la vida cuando no eres el único fuera de la fila. Qué rica es la vida cuando no eres el único fuera de la fila. Qué rica es la vida cuando no eres el único fuera de la fila. Qué rica es la vida, qué rica es la vida. Throw your hands in the air if you're a platypus. Throw your hands in the air if you're a platypus. Throw your hands in the air if you're a platypus. Throw your hands in the air. You wet feet, throw them up like you just don't care. Yeah. Thank you guys.
Woo. El Malito in the 33rd Century. Oh boy. Can I call you Les?
You can call me Les, that's fine.
Les. Les, why do you make your drummer stand up?
Was that my decision or yours? That was a direct request, actually.
Direct request by who? You?
By our manager, right? He was like by the Costa Rican Aaron Louis Levinson. He was like, you know what would be ill if you have Melinda like playing a cocktail kit like they do at bar mitzvahs, and like just have her stand up and play it like that.
Is that what they do? This is what they do at bar mitzvahs?
Apparently.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. That's what she does, at least.
Jewish platypuses.
Yes.
All right. Les, tell me, what's this platypus situation all about? Can you explain this to us?
All right, so the platypus. So before this is like the last song in our set.
And before we perform it, I do a monologue where I talk about like being in a club. Well, a series of monologues. They change through each show, but like one is like about being in a club and a girl looking at me, and I'm like, yo, it's about to be on tonight. And then when she walks up to me, she's like, yo, do you have any coke that you can sell me? Or do you have any weed? Or do you know anybody that can sell me some weed? You know, stuff like that. I've had instances, I'm Puerto Rican, and I've been at work as a bartender, and like people will say stuff about me in Spanish, and I'm like, mira, yo entiendo lo que estás diciendo. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you know, they'll be like, oh, we thought you were black.
So they thought you couldn't understand what they said.
Huh?
They thought you couldn't. Exactly. What does that mean? What does that mean that you just said?
I basically was like, yo, I know what you're saying. I mean, the one time, like, some girl in Spanish was like, he's pouring that beer wrong. And I, like, responded back to her in Spanish, like, no, I'm not. First of all, it's busy as hell, and this is the quickest way to do it. Second of all, your beer should have a little head, so shut up.
I'm a platypus, bitch.
Yeah, I'm a platypus. So there's, like, things like that. A lot of people, like, look at me, and they're like, you're Puerto Rican? You look like you're black. I used to be in a hip-hop dance company. Like, I love the Beatles and Radiohead. So I feel like all these things about me are not supposed to fit like a platypus, but yet here I am like a platypus. Like, they exist, so do I. I'm not one-dimensional. I'm not even three-dimensional. I'm like 18-dimensional. So that's where the platypus song comes from.
Well, besides the fact that they exist and you do too, like, what are the similarities there? There must be some.
Well,
I mean, platypi are weird, right?
Well, I have a duck bill, all right? I have the tail of an otter, I have the body of a beaver, and I have web feet. I mean, what more do you want?
Okay, so when we're throwing our hands in the air in this fashion...
So this is our platypus, like, little dance thing, right? This is our web feet right here. So, you know, throw your webs in the air if you're a platypus. That's how we get down.
Well, can I just go on record as saying that I like it?
I like that you like it.
All right, and the name of the band is the 33rd Century.
So this is the 33rd Century. Give it up for them, please. So besides being platypuses, like, we're from the 33rd century. We travel through, we travel in a time machine that's actually like, it's not made out of metal. It's just like an organism that we feed bananas to it. And that's how it gets its energy to get us, you know, through wormholes and black holes and all that. And, like, when we come here, where you are, like, we bring whatever's happening in the 33rd century, we bring it here. So, you know, we basically, like, we party, we have a good time, you know, we have love, peace, and respect for everybody. That's just how we roll in the 33rd century. So things are going to get better. I just want you guys to know things are going to get better.
Wait, so in the 33rd century, you just party and everybody has peace and love?
Exactly.
That's great. Wow, this is the best interview I've ever done. I'm really feeling really good about this, I must say.
Are you sure it's this and not whatever's in that?
What? That's water, Les.
It is water. It's dark water. It's muddy water.
Trade secret, my friend. So I've heard you described as a Puerto Rican grime rapper.
So
I get the Puerto Rican part.
I am not a grime rapper. That's incorrect.
Okay, let's hear it.
To tell you guys the truth, we actually are still trying to figure out what we do, because we do go into dubstep, we do go into hip hop, we have Latin beats, we do punk rock. I mean, all our music, we do it, we have beats, and then these guys play on top of the beats, but it's just not one thing. So we're still kind of figuring out what to call what we do. But it's definitely not grime.
It's not grime.
It's not grime.
Where do you think that came from? It came from somewhere. I read it several places. I'm sorry that you were labeled in such a fashion.
It came from, like, figuring out what to call it. So at one point, you know, there was Puerto Rican grime, and another point it was like the Latin electro king. I mean, there's been a lot of names that we've put up on SoundCloud and Facebook and whatever, and tough, we always just stick it down and, like, replay. Speed Latin was one of them at one time. So Speed Latin. Yeah. So
yeah, we don't need to call it anything, right? We can just
let's not call it anything for now.
Cool.
We're cool with that.
All right. Well, the last thing I want to do, I brought a game for us all to play tonight. I'm going to be playing this game with everyone this evening. And in honor of the 4th of July being tomorrow and this being the eve of the 4th of July, I invented a game called How Cool is America? So
Okay.
This is the game board. And what we're going to do in this game is we're going to break America up into little pieces of what America is all about, according to me when I was in my room alone yesterday. And I'm going to ask you to rate them, and you're going to rate them on a scale of -5 to 5. Now, this is a scale that I invented because it's clearly the best scale to rate things on. I invented this scale to remedy all the obvious problems with the classic scale of 1 to 10, which means nothing. Now, you can see from the scale that I made up that -5 to 5, all these things have meanings.
Okay.
You can read them for yourself, or you can just, -5 is bad, 5 is good, 0 is neutral. So, can I just show the band? So 0 means you don't care, you're neutral. -5 is absolutely the worst ever. 5 is the best, and everything else in between is subjective, but I've thrown some words up there just to help you guys kind of conceptualize what we're talking about. Now,
You know what's funny about this? I actually
What?
think 0 is the worst, not -5.
wait, but that's because you're in the box of the old scale, my friend.
I just feel like
That's the
I feel
mistake
like
that you're
I feel like
making.
I feel like indifference is worse than hate.
Oh, that's an interesting question, too. I mean, you're going to have to come back on a different show for us to talk about that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I respect that point, but we don't even have time to get into that right now.
Okay.
But well said in a lot of ways. So I'm just going to give you guys something, and it's going to be up to you guys, and you can talk it over, or anyone can reference it, but it's just, this is one piece of America or American history. The first one is going to be the first president of the United States, George Washington. How cool is George Washington on a scale of -5 to 5? Any criteria you want to assess, it's up to you guys. What do you think?
Well, this is funny because we actually have a song called Patrick Henry, where the hook is part of the hook is "Give Me Liberty" or "Give Me Death." And before that song, I used to do a monologue about some of our former presidents. And one of the facts I found out about George Washington was that he actually grew weed. So, I mean,
That's,
Positive factor.
is that bad? Come on now.
but then the negative factor, he used to cycle his slaves up from the plantation, and then Philadelphia at the time had the Gradual Abolition Act, and so I think if slaves were living in Philadelphia for over, I'm gonna get this wrong, but it was something like 9 months, they were granted freedom, and at 8 and 3/4 months, he would send his slaves back to the plantation.
Now, did he share any of his weed with the slaves?
That I don't know.
So we got weed,
That-
and then
that-
we've got a
that would be
historical
a
understanding
deciding
of slavery.
factor
So
right
these
there.
factors are, it's a balancing act. It's hard. So all right, you guys tell me. We got to move on. So someone pick one, and we'll,
Do you
and we'll go
guys
for it.
any? You say which one?
How uncool though? Let's.
I go with personally.
You know what?
-1. What do we think?
Yeah. No. I'm there with you. Trust me. Trust me.
Tough. That's tough.
You know what? Let's give him a -4
Let's give him -4. George Washington -4.
or -3.
Unbearable.
More
Starting
than
it off tough.
Huh?
Okay.
I would give him more than that.
More than that? All right, we're gonna give him a -3.
We're gonna go -3 because Jeb wants to bump him up a little bit. All right. New York City, often called the center of the world, a very, very important part of America. New York City. How are we going on New York City? These guys love it,
I kind of hate New York.
but you hate it. But your band loves it.
I'm with you, Les. I'm not.
Got to keep the
I'm
band
not
happy.
I mean, to me, it's indifferent, so
Clock is
I'm
ticking.
cool with that.
So
Eh?
we're going
Or
eh?
-1. Eh?
We go okay. New York City gets a 0. Okay, jazz music, truly invented by America. Definitely an American invention. Gotta love the jazz music. Or you don't. Well,
I'm not gonna say the best, but it's up there, right?
I'd say a 5.
these guys go 5.
You know what?
The audience goes 5, even though
Let's
nobody
do
asked
5.
you.
Let's do 5 for that one.
5.
I
We're going 5,
trust
okay.
I trust these guys definitely.
Okay, we go 5 with jazz music. All right, well, that's it. We're going to take a short break. Thank you very much, El Malito and the 33rd Century. I want to thank you for being out here, for fitting all this crazy stuff on this stage.
Thank you for having
and
us.
doing what you did tonight. I know it wasn't easy for you guys, and I just really appreciate it. So thanks very much. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with you, okay?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.